So welcome back. My next guest has been on with me. I don't know, it seems like about a few weeks ago at least. I have with me Loren Kutzko, and he is, I should say it the way, he was the owner of the Entrepreneur Source, and he has been helping hundreds of people learn what it takes to make the leap into business ownership. Welcome to the show, Loren. Please tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you mean by this.
Yeah, thanks, Carol. It's great to be back. Appreciate you having me. Right, so basically, people that are transitioning out of their career into business ownership. So instead of working for a boss, they want to be the boss. I help them go through that process. It's an educational process. We look at multiple business opportunities that fit their criteria after we've gone through an assessment to understand what their goals are, what their skills are, and what kind of business they'd be a good fit for.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Because not everybody's a good fit for every business.
No, but here's the thing. There's also a lot of people out there, they have newly retired, and they just realize that they don't want to be retired, right?
Yeah.
So they might be a candidate for you. Somebody who has lost their job, right? Maybe somebody like that. Who's your candidate? Who are you looking for?
Yeah, that's a good question. So ideally, what we're looking for, what the businesses are looking for in their owners is someone who's results oriented, somebody who's a self-starter, people who have always been given more responsibility in their roles at work and who overcome the challenges that are put in front of them, people who are forward-looking, people who are efficient with their time. These are just some of the traits that end up being really good business owners.
Now, I think it's really important for people to hear this because there are a lot of people out there. I think starting your own something for yourself is fantastic because you know what? You can't pull the rug out from underneath you, you know. And the other thing is there are also a lot of people that are listening here that have children too that you might want to get them involved with something like this because they might maybe they need that push. They might find through someone like you what that would be that perfect fit for them. So you've got these books that you're going to be giving away. It's a survival guide for the battered career and investor syndrome. What is that?
That's right. Yeah, so there's about 150 of us around the country, coaches, that are helping people to do this. The Entrepreneur Source has been around for over 32 years, helping people specializing in self-employment coaching. Because like you said, it's not necessarily an easy process. In fact, it's a very difficult process. And identifying the right business model is the first step, and that takes some help. So we got together and we wrote this book called Your Career 2.0. And we're giving it away free today. So call in and I'll send you a copy. I'd love to get that in your hands so that you can learn more about what your options are outside of the traditional job market.
We're going to open up the lines to the audience for everyone to call in for that. He's got 5 of them he's giving away. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. It's called Your Career 2.0. It's a survival guide for the battered career and investor syndrome. I think it's a great book for everybody who's, especially to find out, taking the first step, the first plunge is to find out whether or not you can find somebody for them, right?
Yeah, well, the first step is really understanding what somebody's goals are. So we want to begin with the end in mind. Not everybody's going to be a good fit for owning a business. So when some people think about, you mentioned the retired person who maybe they don't like, the lack of activity all of a sudden now that they've retired. There's other drivers. And so the first thing that we're going to do is really understand what the why is behind why somebody would even be thinking about owning their own business. And it's interesting that you mentioned retirement because on August 4th, a new report was put out by the Kauffman Foundation. And I want to talk about this a little bit today, but they focus on studying entrepreneurship. And one of the interesting things is they've been looking at entrepreneurship for a long time. And since 1996, 20 years ago, it's now 2016, the biggest group of growth in entrepreneurship isn't in the 20-year-olds that we see on the covers of magazines. In 1996, the 55 to 64-year-old business owners was only 14% of new business owners.
Wow.
Today, in 2016, it's gone all the way up to 25%. So a full quarter of business owners now is people that are transitioning into the second half of their career and want to own something instead of being either retired on the golf course or...
They're not really ready.
Right.
They thought they were ready, but they're not ready.
Exactly.
Now, your phone number to call you is 602-900-9213. And your website is what? Is it? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's bizstartuphelp.com, BIZ startuphelp.com.
Again, that number is 602 900-9213, and it's biz startuphelp.com. Our lines are open here, and we're going to give we've got everyone getting entered into win. He's got 5 of them he's giving away. It's Your Career 2.0. It's a survival guide for the battered career and the investor syndrome. So again, call here at 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. I'm losing my voice again. What's new and exciting in the world of small business?
It's a great question. So when I'm helping my clients find the right opportunity, we're looking for a few things. We're looking for a good position against competition, right? So that's one of the reasons that a lot of times when people come to me, they say, well, what's going on in small business? What's going on in franchising? I really like Jimmy John's. It seems like it's always really busy. Well, let's look at how many competitors there are in the sandwich business, not to mention how high the overhead is to have that kind of business. And so we're analyzing what's best for my clients based on competition. Let's decrease the competition. Let's increase your position against competition or have no competition. Let's look for repeat business. Let's look for businesses that you can start with very low overhead and fixed costs, because the reason that businesses fail is because they run out of money. And so we want to position you as a new business owner to be as successful as possible and not have that happen.
Well, I'll tell you something. A lot of people also lost their jobs in the down economy that we had, and they haven't been able to recover completely. And one of the things that I think is, again, I think the best thing that someone should do is to start something themselves. And working with you, finding out what you're looking for, what are your goals, he can help you. His phone number is 602-900-9213. The website is biz, startuphelp.com. And we've got our lines open here for everyone to get the Career 2.0, a survival guide for the battered career and investor syndrome. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. So, okay, Lauren, you have a consulting firm where you help your clients to find best businesses for them. How can you explain how that works to the listeners then?
Absolutely. So like I said, we've been in business for over 32 years. The first step when somebody is considering self-employment is to call my office and schedule a free assessment. And what we do during that is we discuss their career background, their skills, their goals, their interests. I really want to know what interests my clients. In a lot of ways, in the career market, they've sort of gotten away from that. They've spent 20 or 30 years doing the same thing, and maybe they've lost interest in that. And if they get out there and they're looking for a different job at no fault of their own, whether voluntarily or not, they may be thinking, my interests don't matter anymore. My interests have changed, but my resume says this other thing. But that's not true when you own your own business. We really want to understand what interests you and help you find a business that lines up with that.
What happens if somebody's listening right now and they think this is an awesome idea, somebody that I can talk to that can help direct me to maybe finding what the rest of my life could be, right?
Yeah.
Lauren, what happens if they don't know? They really don't know.
Those are actually the best clients.
Really?
The people who are open, but that are driven. So they don't necessarily know what's next. They're open, and that's the process that we're going through as an education process. We're here to learn together what the opportunities are that you might not have considered in the past. So people who call in to learn more about the different opportunities that are out there, everybody knows how to look for a job. But people aren't as familiar with the process of finding a business that matches their criteria.
Right. When the assessment, what do you ask them in that assessment that they can look forward to?
Yeah, honestly, a lot of it's just getting to know one another. I'm just asking them some questions about their career background and then about where they want to be in 5 years. So it's the past, it's the future. What are your goals? What are your skills? What are your interests? And then we always do a personality profile based on the DISC assessment, because that helps me to understand what is the ideal role for them with building new business, finding customers. Are they the type of person that's been project managers their whole life and the idea of going in front of doing a presentation is really frightening? I'm here to help overcome some of those fears by helping them see businesses that are not sales oriented.
Real quickly, how long is the process? Once they start working with you, how long does it take them to finally get into where you find that position for them?
Yeah, so realistically, someone who wants to do this can be up and running, can transition from employment into a business of their own in less than a year. But I don't want people to think that it's a fast process. This is something that we want to take our time. We'll give you plenty of time, do the research, learn the facts and opinions and about the options that are available to you.
So what we're going to do is we're going to leave our lines open here. I'm going to let people call throughout the rest of the show for this. Everyone's getting entered in to win. He's got 5 of these books that he wants to give away. It's Your Career 2.0, a survival guide for the battered career and the investor syndrome. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Check him out. It is BizStartupHelp.com or call him at 602-900-9213 and he'll give you a free consultation. We'll be right back. So welcome back. We're talking with Loren Kutzko, and he is the owner of the Entrepreneur. I should say you're with the Entrepreneur Source. We were talking at the break, and there's so many things that I was asking you about, different little things. And one of them is what I asked you about was, why shouldn't somebody just go get a job instead of, working with you and finding out a business for their own?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's actually not my question to answer. I mean, that's one of the first questions that I ask my clients.
Really?
Is we're sitting through the process and I'm trying to understand, well, why would they be exploring this? What is it about their career that's created this situation where they want to look into other things? The benefits that they often will tell me is they want to have control over their time. I've got one client, she's a woman in her 50s. She's a single mom. She put her son through college. He's looking at medical school. And she's been earning $35,000 a year, and now she's in her 50s looking at retirement, trying to figure out how am I going to make that happen. She talks to a traditional financial planner. They're looking at the stock market. They're looking at historical returns, trying to figure out how do I, turn this thing around and give myself some capital to retire on. Meanwhile, she's got these dreams of traveling, once a year and being overseas as much as possible. And so we're looking at, well, what if you didn't do it that way? What if instead of trying to find a job where you can double your income? I mean, that's pretty tricky to do in the traditional job market. But with owning a business, we can take the things that you've saved into your retirement. We can roll it over into an account, into shares of your own C corporation, with still keeping it in your retirement account. And you can use that to invest in your own business. So when it grows, you can replenish your your retirement account. You can still have those tax benefits, but you're building your own business. And so then you don't even necessarily need to quote unquote retire. Because as the business grows, you can hire employees, and then you can be in part-time, travel as much as you want.
Well, the book here that you're giving away is called Your Career 2.0. It's a survival guide for the battered career and investor syndrome. For anyone that didn't hear, tell them a little bit about what the book is for, because we've got our lines open for people to get that and what they're going to get out of it when they call and get it.
Honestly, the book is a way to go through this exercise, really the same exercise that I take people through in the coaching process of learning about the options that are out there, discovering what are the obstacles that are stopping people from getting to their dreams, what are the different fears that they're dealing with, how to set goals for your career for 5 years out, 10 years out, and how to evaluate if owning a business is the right thing. Sometimes the right thing, it doesn't make sense for somebody to leave their job and start a business. Sometimes it makes more sense for them to open a business that they can run passively on the side to have an incremental income stream that grows next to what they're doing in their job. And I can help them sort through that. Different goals, different businesses, different people.
And maybe you want to do something for someone in the family. What a wonderful thing to do is to start a family-owned business.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was talking to somebody today, and the reason that he got into business was because he wanted to, instead of working for a boss and maybe taking a couple weeks of vacation every year, he wanted to build his business so that when his kids became adults, if they wanted to, they could become owners of the family business.
Well, I'll tell you what, we have our lines open here, and we've got everyone getting entered into win. We've got 5 of these books that we're giving away. It's Your Career 2.0, a survival guide for the battered career and investor syndrome. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. And I'm going to let everybody call throughout the rest of the show as well for it. You should check out his website. It is BizStartupHelp.com. You do a free consultation with people. You have to do that, right? Mm-hmm. And when you say that you also do an assessment, he will do that with you too. You can call them direct. Their number is 602-900-9213. And again, that website is BizStartupHelp.com. So do you sell franchises?
No. So I work with franchises because as people are getting into business on their own, we don't want them to be on their own. Right? They're going into business for themselves, but we want them to be able to partner with someone that's going to help them do the parts of the business that they're not the best at. There's a lot to do as a business owner, bringing in new business, marketing the business, managing the business. And so we want each owner to focus on the parts that they're best at. And so franchises are a great opportunity for that. For a long time, franchises were this thing where, you imagine sort of the traditional fast food franchise. People would have to come up with, six figures, $500,000.
Right, I was just going to ask you about the money part of it.
$500,000 to open a Burger King. Then they get in and they kind of, they go to training for a couple weeks at headquarters. They come back, they get started, and all of a sudden, deer in headlights. They're paralyzed. What do I do? Right? Well, it's changed quite a bit. The whole area. The new franchises are really understanding that, and they're helping their new owners get back to their office on Monday morning after they go to training, and they're sending people from headquarters, or they're sending other owners from around the country to do the beginning sales process and build the business with them. And so it really is much more of a hand-in-glove process to get them started. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for successful business owners that grow their local economy, provide jobs for other people, and end up accomplishing their career and investment goals better than they could in the job market.
His phone number is 602-900-9213. The website is B-I-Z, startuphelp.com. And we've got our lines open here. I'm going to let everyone keep on calling throughout the rest of the show to get the book, Your Career 2.0, A Survival Guide for the Battered Career and Investor Syndrome. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. So people are listening to this and they're saying, wow, that would be a really good idea, but I don't have money for that. You had mentioned money earlier just for a second, but do they have to have money to start to talk to you and talk? And what do they need? Yeah, that's my question. Do they have to have more money, a lot of money?
Sure. Yeah. This is another huge misconception.
Right.
Is that
that's why I'm asking
you have to be
I know
rich to become a business owner.
Right.
Right. Well, that's not necessarily true. A lot of my clients, my last client, in fact, we spent months going through a credit repair process. So it's just like borrowing money for anything, right? So there's different financing vehicles, and part of my job as the coach is to help you find the right financing scenario for you. And so part of what we're talking about is your personal financial assets, your credit history, and then we're deciding or we're learning about the different alternatives and options for how to finance the business. So we'll talk about the Small Business Administration. They've got a great loan for people getting started in business, up to $150,000 with no collateral. It's unsecured, about a 6.5% interest rate. You have a 10-year term to pay that back. With good credit, over 700, we can get them access to that. Like I said before, you can roll over your retirement account or a portion of your retirement account. We're not talking about going all in on anything. We want to mitigate the risk as much as possible, but we'll find the best solution for you.
Well, it really sounds like you go from the real beginning and you actually walk them through not just the process of finding something for you, but actually helping them even attain what it is that they eventually want to get with you.
Absolutely, yeah. The challenge is that when people get kind of wide-eyed about owning a business, they either come up with an idea, right, and they think, I've got the best idea out there, right, and they tell their family and friends about it, and all their family and friends says, that's a great idea, of course, right, because they don't want to hurt their friends' feelings, right, or they see something out there in the market, right, they go to a business lunch at the new Shake Shack that opens up on Camelback and Central, and they see a line out the door, and they think, man, this business must be killing it,
right,
but they don't actually get the facts. They call the 800 number on the wall, and they get swept up in all the glossy marketing materials, and then they find out, oh my gosh, I now own a business where I'm more chained to this business than I was to the job I was trying to escape. And so we want to avoid that. And so that's why we're spending so much time up front really understanding, is your job to be off during the summers with your kids? Is your job to travel? Is your goal to travel more? What are we looking for you in particular? Because it's not the same for everybody.
Well, when you're working with somebody and they say that to you, yes, my option is to maybe take off 3 months during the summer. Are there things that you can actually find for them that they can still do that with?
Yeah, and that's a key part of why the Entrepreneur Source has been around for 30 years and has these key relationships with these franchised business models that I work with. There's about 200 of them in 30 to 40 different industries, and some of them are set up for people that want a part-time business ownership opportunity. Other ones are set up for people that want to build an empire over the next 10, 15 years.
I thought if you owned a franchise, that's it. You were in and that's it. It's awesome that they have different types that you can work with.
Yep, definitely.
So again, now the other thing that I wanted is, are there any exciting local franchises that are making news?
Yeah, well, in fact, there's one out of the Midwest. Everybody's sort of heard of the craft beer craze, right? There's one that just had a grand opening on Friday in the Chandler area called the Casual Pint. That's an exciting opportunity, and something that's kind of fun. People sort of people like drinking beer, and they think, oh, I'd like to own a
you
own
didn't
a
know
bar,
that
right?
was a franchise, did you? Go ahead.
But that's the thing, right? Again, you don't want to get wide-eyed about how much you like drinking beer, because being a bar owner is a different thing. Right. But that is an example of a business that you can own multiple locations of that while you keep your job. So it's a really good opportunity for, the engineers at Intel or Honeywell or things like that, where they're actually good with their job. In fact, they're a little bit bored and they just want to do something to kind of scratch their itch of boredom on the side.
What's your final words for today?
I just don't want people to feel downtrodden by the job market. It is hard out there, especially if you're over 50 and you're going to interview after interview after interview. There are things out there that people are looking for exactly your skills and your strengths, and we can help you find that kind of thing.
This is another avenue, and if it's not you, it might be someone that you know. Tell them about it. They do free consultations. Their phone number is 602-900-9213. The website is startuphelp.com. We're going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show and get the book, Your Career 2.0, a survival guide for the battered career and investor syndrome. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100.